Today, October 10th, 2022, the Board of County Commissioners, I call this meeting to order. I will read the public charge. The Board of Commissioners asks its members and citizens to conduct themselves in a respectful, courteous manner, both with the board and fellow citizens. At any time, should any member of the board or any citizen fail to observe this public charge, the chair will ask the offending person leave the meeting until that individual regains personal control. Should the quorum fail to be restored, the chair will recess the meeting until such time that a genuine commitment to the public charge is observed. At this time, if you'll stand with me, and Commissioner Carter, if you'll lead the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Well, Commissioners, we will start this evening with the announcements, and we will ask our clerk, Monica Wallace, if she will read our announcement for us.
Good evening, Commissioners, and to the public. This evening, I will be reading the announcements that are in our agenda packet. Many links are kind of long, so I will not read them directly. They'll be available online. DECO Public Health COVID-19 Vaccination Clinic Hours. The walk-in COVID-19 vaccination clinic at the Durham County Department of Public Health, 414 East Main Street, have the following hours for your free vaccination. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Tuesdays, 9 a.m. to 5:30. New booster shots are available. Please note clinics are closed between 11:30 a.m. and 1 p.m. daily. Please visit www.decopublichealth.org/COVID vaccines for additional information. Flu shots are also available. DECO Department of Public Health. The Durham County Department of Public Health is offering flu vaccinations in the flu vaccine clinic. Flu vaccinations are by appointment only. Save time and get your COVID-19 vaccine on the same day as well. You can visit www.decopublichealth.org/immunizations, and also the same website with /COVID vaccine for more information. For questions about the cost of vaccines and the free structure, or to make an appointment, you can contact the immunization clinic at 919-560-7608. Early voting begins October 20th. The early voting period for the 2022 general election will run from Thursday, October 20th to Saturday, November 5th. Durham County voters will vote in local, state, and federal elections, as well as the three-part 2022 general obligation bond referendum on the two-page ballot. There are 8 locations for Durham County voters to cast their ballots during this early voting period. Find locations and hours by visiting www.decovotes.com/voters. Election day is Tuesday, November 8th. Voters must vote at their assigned precinct on Election Day. Help improve access and walkability in Durham. Durham is working to help create connected, walkable, and pedestrian-friendly communities. Staff has been working on an update to the Unified Development Ordinance for the tool guiding what development looks like in Durham City and County, and we want to hear from you. To ensure new developments are better connected to the surrounding area and existing neighborhoods, language within the UDO has been changed to better include pedestrians, cyclists, and transit riders who may not have access to a car. While this work has been reviewed by city and county departments, along with the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission, we need your feedback. To learn more about this work, current growth happening in Durham, and how to get involved, there is a link. It's durham.mysocialpinpoint.com growth management. Open Space Matching Grant Program. The Durham County Government Open Space Matching Grant Program is accepting applications for the 2022-2023 cycle. This program funds recreation and open space-related projects throughout the county and allows qualifying projects within priority focus areas up to $5,000 with reduced applicant match of 25%. Durham, the county matching funds are 75%. Please contact Brendan Moore, Open Space Land Manager, at brmoore@dconc.gov to see if your project location is eligible. Applications are due Wednesday, November 16th at 5 p.m. And you can receive additional information by visiting dconc.gov/matching grant. Durham County Community Health Assessment. Data collected in the Community Health Assessment Survey helps us make decisions, plan our programs and services, and write grants. Help out by completing a survey if we knock on your door or by volunteering to conduct door-to-door surveys. There are 4 separate sites for FAQs, training registration, virtual training, and volunteer sign-up, and those can all be found on our website. And lastly, fall/winter clothes are needed. Welcome Baby is calling on Durham County residents to help our area's youth stay warm by donating new or gently used fall and winter clothes. Sizes needed are 2T to size 8. Donations are accepted Monday through Thursday from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at the Welcome Babies office located at Durham County Cooperative Extension Building, 721 Foster Street. For additional information, please contact 919-560-7150. That concludes the announcements published in our agenda.
Today, several of us attended funeral services for Rashawn Yates, one of our employees that worked with BOCC. And I just want to lift up his name and his family and honor him today. It's a sad day to see so many of our young people at this service. And just knowing that our young people are hurting, pretty sad. And I just want to extend my condolences again to the family and for all of this board. That I don't know where we're headed, folks, that when our children are dying, that's a sad state of affairs for all of us. So the next thing that I'm going to shift the agenda a little bit, commissioners. But before we bring up our progress report on the bond, I just want to mention also to lift up our Employee Appreciation Week that is this week. And there are a lot of activities between October the 10th and October the 14th as the Employee Appreciation Week. And there are a lot of activities that will be happening in Durham County. Some of them you will have to sign up for, some of them you don't. So I just encourage all the employees, and if you're not even employees, it's probably some of the things you can. So I want to acknowledge that. So in our agenda, number 7, 220620 is a progress report from the 2022 Bond Referendum Committee. So the board is requested to receive a progress report. The Blue Ribbon panel is chaired by our former mayor, Bill Bell, and Steve Schulz, and former Durham Public School Board Minnie Ford Brown, and Mike Lee. So at this time, I'd like to ask Deborah Craig Ray, General Manager, to briefly go over, give us an overview of what's happening, and I will ask the members that's here, if you'll come up and have a seat in these chairs right here. We can really get a good look at you.
Good evening, Chair Howerton and commissioners and members of the public. While our guests are getting seated, again, I'd just like to express our thanks for them joining us this evening and giving us some of their time to talk about this very important issue in our community, our 2022 bond referendum. And of course, we have been working for about 2 months, really, putting together a strategic plan, putting together information that's out in the community. We have Durham County's website on the bonds. We have Durham County's In Touch with Durham County TV show that's currently running on DTV8 and our YouTube channel, which has interviews from all 3 of the principals who are receiving, who have put forth projects to be included in the bonds. I'd like to thank Conan Morgan, who is here, who is helping with the work that will continue to go on. And again, as you mentioned, we have a rock star group of co-chairs who will be leading the marketing of this bond. And so I will turn it over to them to just say what they would like and in any particular order, and I will answer any questions that you might have after.
Good evening.
Evening.
I took my mask off because I wanted you to see my smile because I am just that excited about this bond that we are getting ready to pass on November 8th. I'm not going to talk about the 10-year plan. I'm only going to talk about what we're going to talk about, the bond for November the 8th. My name is Minnie Ford Brown, and as my church member has just so eloquently said, I am excited and pleased to be a part of this rock star coalition of supporters of Durham, supporters of Durham. I want to begin by saying that I need this. I needed to move closer to me. Okay, Bill, I'm going to have it open. I want to begin by saying I know that there's some chat around the community that's saying that you should say no to the bond. Well, I'm here to say that overwhelmingly, you should say yes, and yes to all 3 on the bond. I'm going to talk about Durham Public Schools and tell you why you should say yes. There's a song that says, when the bones are good, the rest don't matter. Well, the bones in Durham Public School are not good. Many of the schools that are being slated to have work done in the bond were built in the beginning of or in the middle of the 20th century. And I told everybody that my dad worked as a custodian for Moorhead Elementary School. He died in 1963. And I want to say the school absolutely looks exactly the same. "81% of the children that attend Durham Public Schools are children of color. 81% of the children that attend Durham Public Schools are children of color. That means they are black and brown. In the nation, when we talk about urban schools, we talk about schools that have a population over 50 to 60% of children that are children of color. We talk about having a population of children that are on free and reduced lunch, over 50 to 60%. Durham is in that category. We talk about having children who are highly mobile, meaning that their families move from place to place throughout the year. Durham is in that number. We are an urban school district. We are a progressive urban school district. But like I said, many of our buildings were built in the beginning or mid 20th century. What are we going to do with that bond money? We are going to upgrade the mechanical system. And what does that mean? We're talking about making our schools safer in terms of ventilation, in terms of heating, and in terms of cooling. We are sitting in schools where we don't have adequate ventilation for our children. That means that they fester germs. Right, Heidi? Okay. Secondly, we're going to create pre-K and exceptional children spaces, adequate spaces for learning. We don't have that now. When we are talking about making, we don't want to call it universal pre-K, but making pre-K available to all children between the ages of 3 and 4, so that our children, early learners, can become actually early learners, we have to have adequate spaces for them in our school. That's what we're doing secondly. Thirdly, our high school classroom spaces have to prepare our children for college and for the careers that we want them to have. We are especially linked and excited about what Durham Tech is doing with the new science labs. Durham Public Schools is going to be linked specifically with that. We sit in the research triangle close to none other than Silicon Valley. We have to prepare our children to be able to take those jobs that are there and the jobs that are coming. All of us are working together for this upgrade. The Museum of Life and Science, Durham Technical Community College, and Durham Public School. The schools that are going to be included in this bond for November 8th are these. Now remember, I told you 81% of all of the children in Durham Public Schools are Black and brown. All right? The new school, Murray Massenburg, is included in this. We're getting ready to be shovel ready for her. Okay? Bethesda, Club Boulevard, Glen, Holt, Mangum, and Moorhead. There is a bid already out on Durham School of the Arts. We will be building a new Durham School of the Arts. Secondly, we are in the design phase, I meant to say that, for Murray Massenburg. We are ready in Durham Public Schools to go. We want you to be ready at the polls on November 8th to make this happen. Get excited, get ready, and get to the polls. All right, vote yes for all three.
Hey.
That's right.
Hey.
One of you.
The great thing about going after Minnie is she says it all, and she says it better than we can say. So that's a good thing. I'm honored to be here among my fellow co-chairs. One of the main things I want to do tonight is thank you all, the commissioners, for your boldness in putting a $550 million bond issue on the ballot. A landmark for Durham. This is a great package, and it funds buildings and other physical assets we badly need in Durham County. And I just want to appreciate you all for taking this big step, and it is a big step. I was thinking about how we all have had these experiences, how bond issues get here, and get to this point. I want to thank our county manager, and I also want to give a special shout out to our former interim county manager, Claudia Hager, for keeping this package moving along towards the budget season. I think a lot of times when someone is in an interim positions, we kind of expect things to stand still and wait for whoever's going to be the permanent person to come. But Ms. Hager, you didn't do that, and I don't think we'd be here where we are today without your work and leadership. So I appreciate you. I have, when you're old, you've done a lot of things. And so I've been on all boards related to all three of these institutions. I was on the Museum Board, representing Durham Public Schools, which many appointed me to. I was 21 years on the Durham Tech Foundation Board and chaired that board for a while. And I was on the school board. And so I know all these institutions well, as you all do, and feel so loyal to them and appreciative of the work that all of them do. Durham loves all three of these institutions. All three of these institutions that are on the ballot today are institutions that Durham loves and cares for. And you all know that as well as I. When I was elected to the school board in 2004, I was elected alongside Minnie Fort Brown and Heidi Carter. And I should also say we have another former school board chair here with us, Commissioner Carter, who served with great distinction in that work. And for the next 4 years, the three of us would go every other week, I'd say, on a Friday morning to visit a school. And of all the things I think I've done in my public life, that was the most fun. Going into a school on a Friday morning, and we visited them all. And the staffs were amazing, the kids were incredible, but the buildings a lot of times weren't. And that's 18 years ago, and some of those buildings still have not, from that time, have not had the renovation that they need and deserve. And one of the great things about this bond issue is it's going to do that for a lot of schools. And so, again, I want to appreciate you all. I want to echo everything that Minnie said. As I said, she said it much better than I could have. And I also want to add to that, the Allied Health Building and the Life Science Building at Durham Tech are going to be so crucial to our community, so incredibly important for the jobs going forward and to linking our folks with these jobs. 60% of the jobs in Durham County are held by people that don't live here. We need our folks to be able to get jobs in this. So thank you all very much, and I'm just very appreciative. And now I'm going to hand it over to Mayor Bell.
Well, thank you. And I have had the privilege of serving on the school board, Durham Foundation, them life and science. I sit where you guys sit, and I know what the task is in trying to pull together on it. I want to try also, which is not an easy task to pull this together. You have done an excellent job. And some people say, well, why a bond? I'm going to meet. Don't they ask for all the money they need? Work that. Bond is almost like when you're buying a house. Probably most of us who bought our homes had to borrow money to buy. This is the same thing. Have all the money right now. Things happen. The good part about this is the Durham County Board of Commissioners has a AAA bond rate. It means you're going to get the best interest rate on these bonds when they're sold. And that's not something that you just pass by. I've looked at the schedule in terms of how you had it laid out in terms of doing it. And I don't have any bonds. Durham is going to pass all three. And it's going to pass all three because we're a very progressive community. When you talk about how a community is defined, it's defined a lot by its schools. It's defined by its cultural resources. And all three of these represent those entities. So we're going to pass it. And again, I want to thank you for taking the time and putting together an excellent program to sell to the people. And Durham's going to pass it. So thank you.
So hold on a second, hold on a minute, don't run yet. So who could have more of a rock star than we have right here tonight? And President Buxton is in the room as well. So we cannot thank you enough what you're doing. Because we do need people like you out there in the community talking about this bond. So I want to say thank you, and I'm sure the board members may want to, if you'd like to extend your thanks or whatever you'd like to contribute, turn it over to the board. Do board members have anything they'd like to say? I'll start with Commissioner Olum.
Thank you so much. I would just like to thank the three of you as our predecessors in many ways of bringing it forward to building the support in the community and making sure that community members are educated about what is going to happen with this bond money, because that's so vital for community members to know how their tax dollars are going to be put to work. And so I just really appreciate it, especially since all of you have left these seats but continue to serve and put forward your time that you could be spending with your grandchildren, family members, and it's all out of love for Durham. Just thank you.
Carter?
I also want to say thank you to this assemblage of superheroes with superpowers for public education. I know you're going to help us get this bond across the finish line. And I wanted to just give a little bit of history, if I could, about our bonds. I refreshed my own memory on these, but in 2001, this is just Durham Public Schools, but that's the bulk of this bond also. In 2001, our community passed a $51 million bond for public schools. And then in 2003, $105 million. 2007, $194 million. Then we didn't have a bond until 2016, and that was $90 million. And now for DPS, we have $424 million on bond referendum, and we need it to be on there. And you can see from those numbers, in the 2000s, we had $350 million worth of capital asset for our schools. And then in 2010 to 20, only 90 million. So we're due. And I'm just so grateful to you guys. I know you each have superpowers, and you're going to help us get this across the finish line. And we're so grateful for that. Thank you for saying yes to Deborah Craig Ray when she asked you if you would serve, or whoever asked you. Thank you so much.
Jacobs?
I just want to add my gratitude to all of you, and I know also former school board chair Mike Lee is also part of your dynamic foursome superheroes. But again, I also cannot think of better spokespersons and advocates. You all know how important this is for our schools, for our whole community. Our schools and the museum and Durham Tech they're the lifeblood of our community. So thank you for doing what you're doing, and everyone else who is serving alongside you on the bond committee. Thank you.
I'll be short and add my gratitude as well. I think what is most important, we could have had anybody to try to lift this load, but anybody who's walked into a school and then 18 years later and saw that it looks the same way, that is the perspective that we actually need out in this community. Individuals who have had to pass very heavy bonds and know the effectiveness of that money, who can look at the naysayers and say, no, that is what we really needed. So I know that it took some time to get that leadership up there. Three people who have reputations and words that are beyond repute is really important, especially as we talk about how we've had a very open and transparent process about this. And while we can't be everywhere because it's 340,000 of us, I just want you all to know that we appreciate taking this on out of retirement, because like my colleague said, you could be elsewhere. I have nothing but the utmost respect for you all. And I see you here, President, also to Conan Morgan and Longleaf. Thank you so much for adding, well, I would say volunteered expertise, but I don't think you volunteering to this to make sure everything looks nice. And so I look forward to talking to you all on November 9th and saying thank you.
1 point. Early voting starts the 20th of October, so you don't wait till November the 8th to vote for these bonds. So you start the 20th of October.
Absolutely, absolutely. So thank you, all three of you, again, for our gratitude, and we just so appreciate what you're doing. Okay. So, Commissioners, Were there any other announcements that you had, Commissioner Burns?
Mine is relatively quick. We have it's actually a shout out since it is Employee Appreciation Month. I do want to give a quick shout out to Lois Raven. She is our Director of Veteran Services. We have so many people in this community that work on our staff that serve in statewide roles and national roles. And on last week, I want to make sure I get the title correct. She was named the state president for the veterans service county officers. And if I'm not mistaken, from what I read, she's the first African American to do so. So I did want to give a quick shout out to Lois Raven and for everything that she does for our veteran service officers, for our veterans, and I look forward to seeing what she does as she leads the state in that effort over that association.
Commissioner Jacobs?
Yes, I first want to share, thanks to our Durham historian, Eddie Davis, who alerted me to this very important announcement. Today is the 110th birthday of Miss Catherine Farrell. And so I really wanted, I don't know how many of you know Miss Farrell, but she is just amazing and really a walking institution in this community. And so she was born in 1912 on October 10th. So today is her 110th birthday. Evidently her birthday was celebrated yesterday morning, a special service from her church, Mount Gilead Baptist Church, and the service was held at Durham Central Park in celebration of her life. And there is also an article from 2018 of her going to vote when she was 106. So we all need to be inspired by her because I'm sure she will be voting again this year. And so if Miss Farrell can get out and vote at 110, then everybody in our community needs to get out and vote one way or another. So let's all celebrate Miss Catherine's Farrell's birthday. I think a way that we can show our gratitude and appreciation for her is for everyone to go vote. But anyway, just wanted to, on behalf of our board, that we wish Miss Catherine Farrell a happy 110th birthday. And thank you, Eddie Davis. I also wanted to quickly say that our board had a great farm tour last Thursday, and Commissioner Carter is our representative on the Farmland Advisory Board. So I know she was involved with it, but we had a lot of staff. Donna Rewald from Cooperative Extension, Jane Corris, and your staff, Celeste. We had Soil and Water, but our entire board attended, and we got to see our agricultural economic development grants in action and how they're impacting the community. So I just wanted to share that, and also to ask for an excused absence. I don't know whenever the proper time is to ask for that. You'll let me know, Madam Chair.
Go ahead, we need to vote.
Want me to ask the date now? Okay.
Yeah, just
Um,
the date.
So I am requesting an excused absence for our next meeting, October 24th. I will be, as part of the Familiar Faces Leadership Network, Gudrun and I are going to Toledo, Ohio for a peer learning network, peer learning experience in Ohio. So, and I'll be excited to bring back and share from that opportunity.
Okay, board, I need a motion and a second for Mr.
move that
Jacobs
we-
to be out.
I move that we approve the excused absence that Mr. Jacobs requested.
Second.
Okay, been moved and properly second. We got a verbal vote?
Commissioner Long. Aye. Commissioner Burns.
Aye.
Commissioner Carter. Vice Chair Jacob.
Aye.
Chair Howard.
Aye. Approved, 5-0.
Thank you.
Okay, were there any other announcements? And I too thank you, Commissioner Carter, for making sure that that farm tour was organized. It took me back to my farm days of growing up on a farm. The only thing that was missing was the tobacco and the tobacco worms.
The only thing I did was be sure you guys showed up and I was successful. Otherwise, it was all our staff.
All right, so we are down now to our ceremonial items. 220545 is a proclamation. It's the Exchange Family Center's 30th anniversary. So the board is requested to proclaim October as the Exchange Family Center's 30th anniversary in Durham County. And we have Olivia. Is Olivia here? Okay. Olivia, Development Associates with the Exchange Center is here to accept the proclamation after Commissioner Alam reads that for us.
Durham Board of County Commissioners proclamation. Pinwheels, Putters, and Pearls Exchange Family Center's 30th anniversary 2022. Whereas the Exchange Family Center, a nonprofit organization located in Durham, North Carolina, works to help children and keep families together. And whereas the Exchange Family Center supports children and families through therapy, counseling, and coaching through our 3 programs: Family Support Program, Early Childhood Outreach, and Parents of Adolescents. And whereas the Exchange Family Center serves 500 families every year with a growing waiting list of over 70 families. And whereas the Exchange Family Center is celebrating 30 years of helping the Durham community with an anniversary event. And whereas the anniversary event titled Pinwheels, Putters, and Pearls will include an evening gala and auction as well as a morning golf tournament. And whereas both events will take place at the Rosedale Country Club in Durham. The gala on October 22nd, 2022, and the golf tournament on October 24th, 2022. Now therefore be it resolved, I, Brenda Howerton, Chair of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, and on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim the weekend of October 22nd through 24th as the Pinwheels, Putters, and Pearls 30th anniversary in Durham County, and call a celebration of 30 years of work to prevent child abuse and neglect, and in service to the children and families of Durham, this 10th day of October 2022.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Chair Howerton, Durham County Commissioners, and residents of Durham. My name is Kelly Thompson. I'm the Executive Director of the Exchange Family Center. We're a local nonprofit organization here in Durham County. And I'm joined here tonight by Micah Jeter. She is on our Board of Directors. It's a volunteer Board of Directors and serves on our Executive Committee as well. And we just wanted to come tonight briefly to thank you so much for recognizing October for our organization and celebration of 30 years of service to the families of Durham County. Our mission of the Exchange Family Center is to serve children and adolescents, help them heal, and empower families through proven coaching, mentoring, and counseling in schools, child care centers, and in homes. In November of 2018, the Durham's Board of Commissioners resolved to become an adverse childhood experiences informed community. Last year, Durham released its early childhood action plan, laying out the will and the way for Durham to build a community where all children birth to age 8 can thrive. Exchange Family Center is thrilled that we are a critical partner in our county's efforts to ensure the well-being of our youngest residents. I'll now turn things over to Micah, who wants to add a few words.
Good evening, everyone. We are very excited to be able to celebrate our 30th anniversary in just a couple of weeks with pinwheels, putters, and pearls events on October 22nd and 24th. The Exchange Family Center has counseled over 10,000 families in Durham for free of charge for the past 30 years. And in the needs we continue to need funding to expand our support and our reach. And so please be sure to visit our website at exchangefamilycenter.org to learn more about how you can support our organization. We look forward to seeing you on the 24th. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Commissioners, comments, questions? Mr. Jacobs?
I just wanted to thank you all and everyone who is involved with the center because you have been such an effective organization in our community. And so important the work that you all do. I mean, I noticed that, in the proclamation that you have a wait list of 70 families. And so I guess if I could hear, I would love to hear a little more about, what what is the, what can we do about that? And also within the context of the child welfare reform in our state and the Families First Prevention Act, which is going to require that we provide services to families up front. But if we don't have those resources and services, it's going to be very challenging for us to provide that upfront investment. So just wanted to hear your all thoughts on that.
Definitely, you raise a really good point about the wait list that we have. So there's a definite need for our services. It has grown. We've seen it grown through the COVID crisis. And, children and families are in crisis in Durham County and need our services in their homes, in child care centers, and in schools. And so we receive requests from physicians' offices, from many Duke affiliate organizations, from self-referrals, from the Department of Public Services. And so we definitely have social services. We definitely have a growing need. And how can you help? Definitely by things as little as, not as little, but as major as this proclamation and being here tonight. It raises awareness about what our organization is doing. And so that is a start for us, is raising that awareness, but also supporting our organization. We're working to raise our unrestricted revenue source and really raise those dollars of unrestricted funds so we can bring on more trauma-informed professionals that can help these children and families. So that is definitely one way, going to our website, supporting, providing a donation, a monthly gift. All of those things will help us continue to be able to meet the needs of our growing wait list. And Micah, if you want to.
I would just say that to your point about it being a pressing need with the Children's First initiative that's happening in child welfare, we have to also make sure that we remember that families not engaged in the child welfare system are struggling. They also need our support. And so we are working to ensure that we're able to provide support for those families that are touched by the child welfare system, but also increase our the awareness in our community that our services are for all families, regardless of your socioeconomic status or whether you've raised 3 kids and your 4th one is giving you a hard time. We all have to have the ability to pivot and learn new skills and see things through different lenses. And our staff are committed to meeting families where they are and helping them to set goals and to thrive beyond what they've been through. So we're really excited about our 30th anniversary, and we look forward to your ongoing support.
Well, thank you. And I hope you'll keep your eye out for our ARPA funding RFPs that are coming up as well.
We have applied.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you both so much. Okay, we have another proclamation, 220576, Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And the board is requested to proclaim October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And after Commissioner Burns reads the proclamation, Ms. Thomas, the Executive Director of Durham Crisis Response Center, will comments. Thank you. Commissioner Burns.
Durham County Board of County Commissioners Proclamation, Domestic Violence Awareness Month 2022. Whereas the safety, security, physical, and emotional well-being of our neighbors affects the lives of everyone in our community, we recognize that domestic violence takes a variety of forms and believe all individuals have the right to live their lives to their best and fullest lives free of violence and fear. And whereas we recognize that 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men report experiencing physical violence by an intimate partner in their lifetime, according to the National Centers for Disease Control. Domestic violence is a serious, preventable public health concern involving the manipulation of power and control, including willful intimidation, physical and sexual assault, emotional and financial abuse, and other abusive behaviors. And whereas anyone can be a victim of intimate partner violence regardless of gender, age, race, socioeconomic status, ability, or relationship choice, we believe that everyone deserves a life free of violence regardless of gender identification, ethnicity, ability, age, religion, or social status. And whereas we recognize that the crime of domestic violence impacts victims, families, and society and can lead to long-term health problems, missed days of work and loss of employment, psychological distress, family instability and homelessness, and increased risks for future violence. And whereas ending domestic violence starts with awareness and education, changing social norms about gender and violence, and mobilizing our community, including men, boys, our faith institutions, the public and private sectors. We urge all who engage with youth to teach and model respect, consent, and healthy relationships. We encourage government, health professionals, law enforcement, faith communities, and civic organizations to ensure an inclusive environment that supports survivors of domestic violence and sustains their efforts to rebuild their lives without violence in Durham. We are strongly committed to working with all partners so that every individual can access appropriate and affirming resources to address and end violence in our communities. So now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Brenda Howard, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners, and on behalf of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim October 2022 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Durham County this 10th day of October 2022.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We at Durham Crisis Response thank you for support as we continue to serve the survivors of violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking throughout Durham. We provide those free confidential services. We have a 24-hour crisis crime helpline in both English and Spanish to provide those ongoing supports through shelter and other supportive services, prevention education, immigrant services, and a plethora of different things. We just want to make you acknowledge that the fact is, on an average, 20 people per minute are abused by an intimate partner. That equates to about 10 million people per year. This year alone, we've already had 35 homicides in Carolina. So we're just thank you for your continued support in regards to this matter, continued effort that you made for all the survivors in regards to Durham. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the work that you do. This is hard work that you do, and it's got to be hard to work. Otherwise, I can't imagine you doing it. You know, I think the most impactful part of it for me was when I had the opportunity and the privilege to call the names of individuals, and one of the women was a woman that had been killed. She was 90-some years old, and that still impacts me today when you talk about domestic violence. That be.
And I would just say that without our staff, we have an incredible community. They have provided supportive services throughout the Durham area, continued to provide individuals despite any obstacles that they were going. They continue to serve them at the 24-hour.
Commissioners, comments, questions? Commissioner Burns?
Mine is really quick. One, thank you for what you and your staff does. And I think sometimes when we think about domestic violence, some people think of it as just a fight, and it's really not a fight. Like this is more than about power, and it doesn't always end in a fight. When I was at the Attorney General's office, my job as a lowly staffer was to put together a domestic violence homicide report every year. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. Because that meant I had to go back and look through reports and count dead people, count women and men that probably would have been here. I don't know what the stat is now, and I hope you can clarify it for me. I think back then, 1 in 7 women, it took 7 times for a woman, a partner, let me say that, to get beaten before she would finally leave, she or he would finally leave. And I used to tell people, you have to survive all 7 times. You have to actually live through 7 beatings. And so I just want to uplift. I think one of the things that I pulled from that report, it was always, people thought, oh, it's hot. That's when we have the most domestic violence homicides. It's in the summer. It's really not the case. It's actually during the holiday season. You'll see it uptick. So we're going into the holiday season. So please know that this is timely. It's no different from the airport. If you see something, say something. It's really difficult during economic downturns. The number, I think, for North Carolina was 103 in 19, then 110. Last year was 20 was 134. We hit 148 last year. I don't know what we're going to hit as a state this year. So please be vigilant. Please save a friend. What is the number actually? 7 times?
Yes,
It's still 7 times.
I would also just like to reiterate that it's not just the physical abuse, it's the emotional abuse, psychological abuse, all of those take into effect. So when we're talking about our survivors, it doesn't have to be something that you necessarily see physically. It could be things that people are doing emotionally. So just note that in itself.
Anyone else? Commissioner Alum?
I just want to add on to the thanks that Commissioner Burns relayed to you and your staff of such a heavy work that you all carry, and the services that you provide to these victims. I know that it's work that often goes thankless and not recognized, but these people rely on you, and it's a matter of life or death for many of them, and you're providing them that service. So thank you so much for doing that work every single day and having to carry that weight with you also when you leave the office.
Okay. Thank you again so much. Is there another hand? Commissioner Jacobs?
Just very quickly, are you you've just recently become the new director, is that right?
That is correct.
So I just really wanted to recognize that you are the new director and to welcome you in that role. And we're glad that you're here, and please let us know how we can be of support. Thank you.
Yeah, we have been going back and forth trying to get on each other's calendar, and we will make it happen. Thank you. Okay, commissioners, we are down to our consent agenda.
Chair Howard, quick question. I did just want to take 2 seconds. Somebody in the audience remind me just to congratulate Hillside High School on 100 years. So it was their 100th anniversary this year. So I did want to throw that out there. 100th homecoming and an undefeated record.
Okay, our consent agenda, we have 26 items on our consent agenda. Are there any items that commissioners would like to pull? So there are none that I'd like to pull, but I do want to acknowledge one thing, that there were several items that 220570 and 220571, 220572. All of that information talks about support of our families and our children. And when I've counted up the dollars that the money's coming from DHHS, it's approximately $5 million. And I just want to acknowledge that kind of money that is coming from DHHS that supports our families and our children, and I think that needed to be acknowledged tonight. Because as we read the proclamation from the Exchange Family Center, it's about families and children, and that's where we all live, all of the members on this board. Our hearts are always around supporting our families and our children. So just want to acknowledge that, and we can go ahead and get a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Madam Chair, I move for approval of the consent agenda.
Okay,
Second.
we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Clerk, if we can get a roll call, please.
Commissioner Alam,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter, Vice Chair Jacob, Chair Howard.
Aye. Consent agenda is approved 5-0. We have a couple of public hearings. 220604 is a public hearing, a request to permanently close A970 linear foot section of Akron Boulevard. So we have Cole. Okay, there you are, Cole Ringer, with the Planning Department to present this item.
Madam Chair, before the staff leaves, can I just make one other quick comment? I see the EMS walking out. I just wanted to acknowledge your fantastic work in getting this transformative grant to help us expand our community paramedicine program. So thank you.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening, Cole.
I want to state for the record that all Planning Department public hearing items tonight have been properly noticed and advertised per state and local laws. After these to that effect, all are on file with the Planning Department. The case SC 19-0001 references a request by Stewart Incorporated to permanently close a 970 linear foot portion of Axo Boulevard running south from Teneca Parkway. All adjacent parcels are owned by the same entity. This portion of the right-of-way is presently open but not maintained by the North Carolina Department of Transportation. If closed, the right-of-way will be recombined with the adjacent properties. Axo Boulevard has been realigned with a newly constructed connection to Red Mill Road.
Are there any questions for staff? Okay, hearing none, I will open the public hearing. And are there any speakers for this item?
We do not have any speakers signed up for this item.
If there are no speakers, I will close the public hearing. The item is back before the board. And if there are no comments, are there any comments from the commissioners? Okay, then I will entertain a motion for approval. Yes.
Madam Chair, I would move to approve the request to permanently close a 970 linear foot portion of Axo Boulevard.
It's been moved and probably second. Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Alam. Aye. Commissioner Burns.
Aye.
Commissioner Carter. Vice Chair Jacob.
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
Aye. Moved. It has been approved, 5-0. 220618, it's a public hearing to consider rescinding a previous vote on the Mason Farms major special use permit application and conducting a new quasi judicial hearing to receive additional evidence. So the board is requested to vote on rescinding the previous approval of the major special use permit for the Mason Farm development considered during the September 12th, 2022 session of the Board of County Commissioners. and to conduct a new quasi-judicial hearing to receive additional evidence on the submitted application at the November 14th, 2020 regular session. And I believe staff is not here, I just open it up for, do I open a public hearing?
You can have discussion on it.
Say again?
You can have discussion on it, and then you can open up the public.
I can't hear you.
You can have discussion on it, and then you can open up the public hearing.
Okay, so if there's no staff available to speak on it, are the commissioners, no comments from the commissioners? I'm sorry?
Yes, that's what the vote will be after the public hearing. You will, after the public.
Yeah, after the public hearing. So I've opened the public hearing, closed the public hearing,
And then you vote.
and I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So you're asking if there are staff here to speak, and then if the commissioners have any discussion, and if not, you can open the public hearing.
Okay, then I open the public hearing.
Yes.
Okay, we'll get it straight in a minute. Open the public hearing. Okay, and there are no speakers, so I will close the public hearing. And it's back before this board
Yes.
for comments or questions. And hearing none, I will ask for a motion to move this item to November the 14th. To
Madam Chair.
rescind and move this item to November 14th.
Correct.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to consider rescinding a previous vote on the Mason Farms major special use permit application and conducting a new quasi-judicial hearing to receive additional evidence on November 14th.
I got a second.
Second.
It's been moved in second. If I can get a verbal vote.
Commissioner Alam,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter, Vice Chair Jacob,
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
Aye, 5-0. This item is passed. Thank you. Okay, other business, 22-0620. Okay, we did that one earlier, so that was moved up to the front. I don't have any other items, nothing was pulled. Is there anything else that we need to cover for the good of the board? If not, Commissioner Carter, did you need a motion to be excused, or you want to wait and do that? You'll wait? Okay. So at this time, we have a closed session. The board is requested to adjourn into closed session to establish or to instruct the public body's staff or negotiating agents concerning the position to be taken by or on behalf of the public body in negotiating the price and other material terms of a contract or proposed contract for the acquisition of real property by purchase, option, exchange, or lease, the amount of compensation and other material terms of an employment contract or proposed employment contract pursuant to GS 143.318.11A5. I will entertain a motion to go into closed session.
Madam Chair, I move that we move into closed sessions for the reasons stated.
Okay, get a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second, and a roll call, please.
Commissioner Alam,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter, Vice Chair Jacob,
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
Aye. We are in closed session. session, gave directions to staff, no decisions need to be made, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and properly second. Clerk, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Alam? Aye. Commissioner Burns? Commissioner Carter? Vice Chair Jacobs?
Aye.
Chair Howard.
Aye, 5-0. We are adjourned.